Hello there guys, it's CoolFox over here, and today I'm bringing you an unboxing and review of the Esddi Speedlight. So starting off with the unboxing, on the front you'll find a schematic of the Speedlight itself with the logo written down, and on the other sides, as you can see, there is nothing written. On the front and on the bottom there is also nothing written, so we can go straight into the unboxing. So you are first greeted with this plastic mount, and inside you will also find a package containing the Speedlight inside, as well as the manual on top. So the manual itself is actually very informative, and you can go through this obviously, and I actually do recommend that you go through it, since there is a lot of information that you can read, and therefore you would know a bit more about the flash itself. So now going straight to the Speedlight itself, it comes inside of this bag, which is very nice to see actually, and inside you will find it inside of a plastic bag. Apart from that, as you can see, there is also a zipper, so there are a few extra stuff down here, and this is basically the whole collection. So inside of the bag you will find these two inside of the zipper, and obviously this one in the main compartment. So this itself is actually the trigger that you can use, which is wireless of course, and we will go through this later. So quickly going through the Speedlight itself, you can see that this can move around about 90 degrees. It can also rotate 360 degrees on the x-axis. It is fully made out of plastic, but this is obviously to be expected, but there is a really good heft to it, so it does feel very high quality. There is also some plastic to cover the plastic parts which get scratched easily, and also one over the screen. So going through it a bit more closely, you can see that there are a lot of buttons here on the front. So obviously to turn it on you first need to put in batteries, and that is located on the right side. So here you need to put in 4 AA batteries, which are actually not included inside the box, so you'll have to buy them separately. So this is the order that you need to put the batteries in, and this is also indicated on the cover itself. So once you close it, you can then obviously turn it on. And from here on, you can obviously attach it to your camera and continue on from there. But going through the buttons themselves, you can see here that you have many different modes. So ITTL is the fully automatic, and it will go according to your camera itself. So obviously there is a hot shoe on the bottom which will communicate with the camera itself. But nonetheless you have other different modes, such as fully manual, where you can change everything basically. So you can change the shutter speed here, or the exposure compensation, and you can also change the zoom. You can hear it moving, and you can also see it moving. Obviously it will make a noise indicating that it is adjusting its flash properties. Then you also have the multi-mode, which will burst out a series of flashes, and then back to the ITTL mode. The FN button here lights up the display green, so you can obviously read it better during the night. Press this, you will then go into the wireless settings, and you have the master setting as well as some slave options. So I sadly cannot use the wireless remote, but nonetheless I will go through it quickly in this video. So it is fully made out of plastic, except for this hot shoe here, which again fits in just like the Speedlight itself. And obviously in this case we'll put this on the DSLR itself, while the Speedlight will be situated somewhere else, since it's going to be connected to it wirelessly. Up here you will find the battery compartment, and this is the reason why I cannot review it, since I do not have these types of batteries, but you need a 23 amp 12 volt battery, which I am really not sure where to get it exactly, but nonetheless if I do find one, I will update this video. You will also find a test button here to check the status and if it works. And apart from that, on the side you will also find a little switch, and on the back you will find some small little switches here, which again you can turn them on or off, although they are a bit tricky to reach. Obviously if you do want to use this, there will be a whole tutorial on this in the manual itself, so you can check the manual if you get confused on how to use this. Before moving into a flash comparison, I would first like to show you this, and this is one of the main features that an external flash will have over the inbuilt flash. So obviously the external flash will be a lot faster at taking continuous photos than the inbuilt flash, since the inbuilt flash has to stop in between each photo. Now moving into the flash comparisons, as you can see with the inbuilt flash, it is always being a bit more on the warmer side, while with the external flash it is always a bit more neutral. I have also included different shots with the external flash, some with the diffuser and some without. and you can easily tell that with the diffuser obviously there will be less light that passes, while without, the image will overall look a bit more blown out, obviously if you keep the same settings as with the diffuser, and apart from that you will get harsher shadows. So I would obviously suggest that you use the diffuser since the shadows are being a lot less harsh. You can also see in this picture of the duck that with the diffuser the light is a lot more evenly spread, and I know that this is not the ideal scenario, obviously I am very close to it, as well as the flash being mounted on top of the camera itself, so it is shining light at an angle, but this is done on purpose obviously to show you also the shadows. You can see that with the inbuilt flash and without the diffuser on the external flash, the shadows are very harsh, while with the diffuser it is a lot less harsh. So I hope you enjoyed this video guys. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. This was CoolFox and I'm out. Peace.